Have you ever felt lost trying to match the vertical axis between STAAD.Pro and RCDC? Or are you wondering if your load directions X, Y and Z will get messed up during design? Don't worry, by the end of this video you will not only understand how these axes work but also confidently handle them like a pro. So here is the big question. Is the vertical axis of STAAD and RCDC the same? See, for example, in STAAD we assign earthquake loads in the X and Z directions. Now when we import these loads into RCDC, will it automatically adjust them to its own relevant direction, or could there be a mismatch that affects the design? Now before jumping into the answers, let's clear up some confusion. First, see, STAAD.Pro is primarily an analysis software. It defines forces in the global coordinate system with X, Y and Z axis. RCDC on the other hand is a design software. Now instead of focusing on specific axis system, RCDC works with the local member axis to calculate design forces like major and minor bending moments. Now here is the kicker. See, the direction you assign to the loads like EQX or EQZ in STAAD, it is just a nomenclature or load case when it is imported into RCDC. So basically the short answer is no, the vertical axis in STAAD and RCDC are not same, but it doesn't cause any issues. Why? Because RCDC imports the force values from the STAAD and maps them to the relevant local member axis for the design. Now it doesn't rely on STAAD's global coordinate system for its calculations. For example, if you define earthquake X as an earthquake in the X direction in STAAD and later, let's say you assign it as EQ in Y direction in RCDC, it doesn't change the actual forces. The forces remains the same. The direction labels are only used for creating load combinations and not for altering the design results. So let's understand this through an example. Let's say you have defined earthquake X as in 10 kN horizontal force in the X direction and similarly 12 kN in the Z direction. Now when you import these loads into RCDC, it recognizes the forces along the major and minor axis of the column, regardless of how you have labeled them as earthquake loads. Now even if you accidentally label earthquake Z as, let's say, earthquake Y in RCDC, the design remains unaffected because it uses the actual force values from the STAAD.Pro. To sum it up, don't stress over axis alignment between STAAD and RCDC. As long as your analysis is correct in STAAD, RCDC will handle the design forces based on the local axis of each member. Your labels like earthquake X or Z, they are only helping as a load cases to create the load cases and they don't affect the design part. So I hope you like this explanation and clear up your confusion. Now if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and stay tuned for more such structural engineering tips. Always remember, don't just learn software, learn concepts. Thank you.